cried for the dunamis power, to do the work on earth. But we cry out to Yeshua. We say, have your way.
magnify your name. Father, yours alone is the kingdom. Yours is the power. Yours is the glory. For God said, light shall shine out of darkness, is the one who has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the surpassing greatness of the power will be of God and not of ourselves. Our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit, and He's releasing His light, His presence, His glory, His power in an earthen vessel, one that's afflicted but not crushed, perplexed but not despairing, persecuted but not forsaken, struck down but not destroyed, always carrying the dying of Jesus so that His life may be manifested in our bodies. If we can stand and open our hands to Him and say, Holy Spirit, say, Holy Spirit, release your power, release your glory, release your presence. My body is the temple of your Spirit. Fill me. I have a treasure in my earthen vessel. We worship and exalt you. We magnify your name. We break off chains. We're more than conquerors. We're the head and not the tail. I'm here to worship you. Just break off every hindrance, every oppression. I will worship the King.
Yours is the kingdom, yours is the power, yours is the glory forever. Amen. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the power, yours is the glory forever.
I just want to confirm that story that Michelle just gave. And I just saw as we were worshiping that when we come into total obedience and full surrender to God, that's when He's going to pour forth His glory into the earth through us. And we're going to see a huge move of God here.
Amen. Let's just respond to that. Just open your hands as if you're receiving, because you are. If you only knew the greatness of the Lord in you, if you only knew how He sees you worthy of His love and of His presence. It's nothing that we do. All we can do is receive and surrender. Surrender our way. Surrender our dreams. Say, Lord, manifest yourself in me. I am here for you. I've been created for your good pleasure. And there may be specific things that you need to surrender. Just see yourself. It could be the Isaacs, it could be the Ishmaels in your life. Things God never called you to, or even things God gave you that are getting in the way. afflicted, broken, crushed, despairing. And he says, you don't understand. It's in the midst of that brokenness that my light reflects and radiates glory. It's not your strength, it's your brokenness. For my strength is perfected in your weakness. Father, we're your house. We're broken, afflicted. But would you somehow release your ray of light, your outpouring of love, that we would reflect and the refraction from the brokenness will bring forth more light. Make me a house of prayer. Just allow him to fill you. Allow him to heal you. Worship him. Make me a house. Make me a house of prayer.
A few minutes ago, there was a picture of a lion up on the screen, and I looked at it, and I went back 5 years ago to a dream, and I leaned over and I told my wife, I said, that's the lion that came to me in the dream and looked into my eyes. And today I got the interpretation of what he was doing. He was looking like curiously into my eyes. He was looking for the lion in me, and he was calling it out. And I believe that that's what he's doing in this revelation of who we are. He's looking into us in the deep places, and he says there's a lion inside of you. There's a lion inside of you, and I'm calling him out. I'm calling him to the forefront in these days, in Jesus' name.
Make me a house of prayer. Come on, let's worship.
Lord, make me a house. Make me a house of prayer.
A house of prayer.
Lord, make me a house. Make me a house of prayer. Lord, make me a house. Make me a house of prayer.
Let the fire on my altar never burn out. The fire on my altar never
Father,
burn
release
out.
the fire.
Fire on my
Release
altar
the fire.
never burn out. Make me a house of
Release
prayer.
the fire.
Fire on my altar never burn out. The fire on my altar never burn out. The fire on my
Father,
altar
release the
never
fire
burn out.
on these
Make
altars.
me a house of
Release it.
prayer. Fire on my altar never burn out. Fire on my altar never burn out. Fire on my altar never burn out. Make me a house of prayer. The fire on my altar never burn out. The fire on my altar never burn out. The fire on my altar never burn out. Make me a house of prayer. Lord, make me a house. Make me a house of prayer. Lord, make me a house. Make me a
Heaven's pregnant. Very, very pregnant. I saw the heavens very, very pregnant, and I said, Lord, what is this? And He wants us to declare. We say, let the birthing of your purposes, Lord, in the nations, over the nations, begin now in Jesus Christ's name.
Lord, we just thank you, God, that you are birthing things over nations, God. The heaven is pregnant with your purposes, God, with your glory, God. Your kingdom is coming down, God, into the nations, God. And earlier I saw the Lion of Judah, but his fangs were out and he was releasing a roar that I have never heard before. And one of his legs was forward. So, Lord, you are roaring over nations, God. You said that you are fed up with the wickedness of men, and you're going to shake, 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 and that birthing with decree begins now in Jesus' name.
Fire of my altar never burns out. Come on, fire of my... Declare it. God's calling a mighty army, and you are arising. Fire of my altar never burns out. Fire of my altar never burns out.
Fire on the altar never burns out. Make me a house of prayer. Fire on the altar never burns out. Fire on the altar never burns out. Fire on the altar never burns out. Make me a house of prayer. Fire on the altar never burns out. Fire on the altar never burns out. Fire on the altar never burns out. Make me a house of prayer,
He's making me. He's molding me. He's breaking me. He's making me. He's molding me. He's breaking me. Father, we come to your presence. We receive your outpouring. And we say, Hineni, we're here. Use us, Father. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. In Jesus' name, you may be seated. Thank you, Lord. Phyllis, as you were worshiping, the Lord showed me, and we've known you have a great call, great prophetic and worship call. And the Lord has given you keys to open portals. And God wants you to know how He sees you. Because many times, like all of us, the circumstances, the things we go through, we don't see what He sees. Father, touch her now. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. All right. Good morning. Amen. I just have two questions. Where are my lions? And my lionesses? No, that was not good. Yeah, it sounded like meow. Well, let's try that again. You see, your voice has power. So Satan's doing everything he can, the spirit of Jezebel, to take the breath and the sound and the voice away from the lion. But today, God's restoring your voice. There's power in your word. There's power in your song. There's power in your shout. No devil in hell is going to steal the fact that you are lions and lionesses, and that greater is He that's in you than he that is in the world. And God is bringing an awareness of our true identity in Christ. We are more than a conqueror in Christ Jesus. All things are possible for those who believe. We are the ones that will raise the dead, heal the sick, cast out devils. This is a mighty army of God. No more meow. All right. Where are my lions and lionesses? Much better. Amen. Hallelujah. So we are in the month of ER, between Passover and Pentecost, as we're counting the Omer towards Pentecost. ER is defined by a window, an open window of light, revelation, growth, and advancement. There's window of healings. It's a sign where there's portals for healing. If you need a healing, just receive it during this season. It's a time for deliverance into manifestation and a time of enlargement. The Lord is saying, enlarge your tent pegs. The new month of Rosh Chodesh, it brings in this month. It's a month of healing, and the acronym stands for Ani Hashem Rofecha. I am the God, your healer. Another aspect of this month is the word Ziph, which is radiance. God is releasing His light. Radiance is light, glow, shining, revelation, express a greater measure of light. God's releasing a greater measure of his light. You are the light of the world. God is igniting the fire in you for you to not only continue to burn, but burn more brightly in the midst of darkness. Light penetrates darkness. It's a season of transition. From Passover, deliverance, to Shavuot, outpouring. Deliverance, sometimes it's a process. Sometimes, like in Egypt, it was instantaneous. But transition, for sure, is a process. It took time before the outpouring of the Holy Spirit on Pentecost. ER is where God deals with mindsets, habits, identity. As we saw where Jesus was being mocked in the point of his calling at the cross, the most difficult time of his life, Satan is going to question your identity and mock you of your position, your role, your profession, and you need to say, no, I am a child of God. My father is the lion of the tribe of Judah. I am a lion, I'm a lioness, and my identity is hidden in him. You see, it's not when we battle demons, warfare, or attack that we stand on our own righteousness, goodness, or power. When we come against battle, we need to stand as a son of the living God. See, there's no accusation. No, it's not me. I am the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. God has called me for this task. So there's a battle over identity. Deliverance happens quickly. Transformation takes a process. Jewish tradition connects ER with Issachar. Men who understood the times and knew what Israel should do. This is a time of heightened discernment, strategic wisdom, clarity for next steps. God has a plan for your life. God directs your steps. His word is a light unto my feet and a path, lamp unto my path. Very good. Thank you. You knew what I was saying. Okay. ER is the time between God bringing us out and God bringing us in. It's where wounds are healed, where your identity is being refined, where our dependence on God is built. Passover says you're free. ER says now you're being transformed. Pentecost says now walk in the power of the Holy Spirit. So I want to encourage you during this season to be as the sons of Issachar who knew the times and seasons and knew what they ought to do. God wants to give you supernatural wisdom, supernatural revelation, strategic plans for every area of your life, for parenthood, for marriage, for business, and how we are to build. And in this time of transition and coming out of things, we continue to declare you're coming out of Egyptian bondage, of financial lack. You see, Egypt was the place of not enough. The wilderness with manna every day was the place of just enough. But the promised land, God has a promised land for you, is a land of more than enough. They had what they needed and they never lacked anything. God wants to transition you out of a poverty mentality where you're counting your pennies, where you clinch to your tithe, to open your hand and realize there's a grace that as you give, as you sow, God wants to provide so much more. My God shall provide for your needs according to his riches in glory. And I declare over our lives, we're coming out of Egypt. Let's say together, Father, I'm coming out of Egypt. I'm coming out of the land of not enough. I'm coming out of the land of just enough. And I'm coming into a land flowing with milk and honey. A land more than enough. In Jesus' name. And I encourage you to sow from that land of more than enough. If you can bring the basket up here. If we can stand. Can you please bring up the basket? You're free to come up and sow your offering. Be the Light, Young Adults, Tuesday night, 7 p.m., Unit 204. City on a Hill, Youth Group, 12 to 18, Friday at 7:30. Okay, Acela?
Yeah, so as Margarita had mentioned last week, we're going to, this week, formally invite all the ladies. May 16th, we are privileged to have Ada Diego come and minister to us. And she's amazing. I know Margarita has been with her in a conference, and she says it's, you know, she's amazing. So we're expecting a lot. It's going to be a divine process to heal our souls, shape our character, and establish unshakable faith in us. So we're expecting great and mighty things. We're going to come in one way and leave another. So we do need you to call. At this point, it's going to be, yeah, there's a sign-up sheet in the foyer. And, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I will be, and, oh, she's not here. I will be outside there, I mean, by the lobby, to take your signature. But you can go ahead and sign up. We have a sign-up sheet. And that's all, you know, it's free of charge. we just encourage you to seek the Lord, to see the gift to give the prophet, okay? That's all. It's up to what the Lord puts in your heart. So make sure you bring some money or your checkbook the day of the conference. I mean, it's not a conference, it's a seminar, all right? And it's going to be from 9 to 3:30, okay? We'll have more to announce later.
Yeah, so we had spoken to Ada this past week, and we decided that we're going to just take time out, an hour for lunch around here. But if you feel, because there's going to be ministry, so some ladies are going to be in the presence and may not want to go out to eat, or you may want to just bring your own little lunch. So that's options. But you're going to receive from the Lord, and you're going to, like I said, come in one way and leave another.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Amen.
This Sunday, next Sunday, we want everyone to join us. There's a major prayer event. It's in Miami, but we're expecting thousands of people. I'm overseeing the prayer for the event. It's going to be a rally for the crying out for the liberation of Cuba. We're expecting 3,000 to 4,000 people. Many of them are not saved. There's going to be an altar call, and we want all of you there helping, praying, and evangelizing for the people. I'm going to need shofars. Did you guys get the flyer? I'm in? Okay, we needed to give it out to everyone. So the bus will be going from here. So after service, there'll be a short break for lunch, and the bus will leave here probably around 3:30. John is going to take up, if you needed a ride, to Bayfront Auditorium in Miami. Many churches are joining. We're crying out to God for freedom, and many people, it's just an excellent opportunity to bring the gospel to many people. Okay, so we want you guys to join. I will be a part of it. Gary, I'm going to need you with the shofar, and we need other shofarim. If you can see Gary, because we want to be able to declare certain things prophetically during the rally. Okay, that's at Bayfront Park Auditorium in Miami. Oh, for those that need a ride, please sign up directly following service so we know how many people need transportation. All right. So I have a special announcement. I went to D.C. This week, and I was sworn in to a White House position. Can we put up the first picture? Just the picture. And the title is White House Faith. It's Faith Liaison. That was a swearing in with our dear friend Sarah Carter. Faith Liaison, Special Advisor to the Office of the President on the Office of National Drug Control Policy. It's a lot of words. Listen. So Sarah, who we've been praying for and ministering to for many years. You remember she was with us. We've taken her. She was part of LCI. She is the director, and they have an amazing, amazing office. I am working, it's part-time position. I'm working from here, from Cooper City, and I'll be shuttling to D.C. pretty much like I have been once or twice a month. That's not changing. I ain't going nowhere. I actually told some of the people in Washington, it's kind of like grandparenting. I get to visit the baby and come home. I don't have to change diapers or deal with poopy. I'm not implying that there's diapers that need to be changed in Washington. So I'm going to show part of the swearing in that happened this week. That's the video. The next video. Okay. Volume.
It's very feminine.
It was a pink
I had
Bible.
another
I was
down
sworn
one.
in.
I didn't think about bringing that one in.
Dario said,
My other leather Bible.
he asked me, where's your Bible? What do you mean you came without a Bible? You're going to be fired.
Yeah, I know, really. This is the center of faith right here. And I want to thank you all for being here because it just shows me the support and the love that I have for Pastor Mario and everything that he's doing. We have a mission, and our mission is one that is I carry it like weights sometimes on my shoulders, and I ask God to take those weights off because we have children across our nation and families that are suffering, and the cartels and the evil that has afflicted our nation, as well as sadly substance use disorder and addiction. And so we have a lot to work on here, but we can't do it without God. And we can't do it without putting the Lord at the center of this. And so that's what we're doing here. That's why we've asked you, Pastor Mario Branwick, to be a part of this, to be a part of our family, and to work with all of you so that we can actually get the job done, have the armor of God behind us. So here we go. All right, please raise your right hand, I guess. And put your hand to the Bible, yes. I, Mario Branwick,
I, Mario Branwick,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
God bless you. Thank you. Yes, please.
It's such a great honor to serve this nation, to serve our president. And as I was just thinking, it is such an honor to work with you.
Wow.
We are so excited about what God's doing in this office through your life. And as much as it's an honor to serve the country, it's going to be an honor working together with you because you have surrendered this position and this office to God. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who labor in vain. And together, we're going to make America sober again.
Yes, and healthy again. And
Okay.
we're going to fight. We're not afraid.
You can turn off. All right.
To
So Sarah is amazing. She's so marked for God. She is making faith the center of her entire office and doing whatever it takes to make sure that we glorify the Lord. It's the real deal. It's a real honor. So thank you for your prayers. Nothing is changing here, but we all get to rejoice with that. Amen? Amen. Thank you.
I'm going to keep this short. Anyone that had anything to do, any part of the marriage seminar that we went through, we're doing a special movie viewing next Saturday here at 10 a.m. And it's called A Marriage Made in Heaven. It's like romance comedy, and I think you'll love it. It's very powerful. Hope to see you all there.
All right. Kids Church, you're dismissed. And if we can turn to Ephesians 2:20. The church is built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Christ Jesus as the chief cornerstone. The word build is to construct, to assemble, to form by master design or a blueprint. We need to understand when a building is being built, the most important aspect is the foundation. The structure rests upon it, and that structure which rests upon a strong foundation would stand, and that which rests upon a weak foundation will fall. And nobody sees the foundation, nobody praises the foundation, all they see is the edifice. And you can have the nicest building that will not last. And this is a spiritual analogy of what you're building in your life, your own life, your family, the church, and the things that we're building in advancing the kingdom. God's looking at the foundation. And no one can build a foundation but upon apostles, prophets, Christ Jesus, the chief cornerstone. Upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. First Corinthians 3:10 says, by the grace of God, Paul said, God has given me, I laid a foundation as a master builder. Someone else built on it. But each one should be careful how he builds. For no one can lay a foundation other than that which is laid, which is Jesus. What are you building upon? What's at the foundation of your life, your marriage, your family, the church, your ministry? Paul taught that it was grace on his life that made him a wise master builder. We're an apostolic church, and one of the main definitions of an apostle is a builder. The apostle sees the strategy of God and begins to build movements, build advancement of the kingdom. The prophet prophesies direction, but it's an apostle that's a builder. So if you're in this house, you're a builder. God is a builder. I said before, when Jesus was on the earth realm, he was a carpenter, physically building, but he builds. We're building something. And I decree and declare, you're not only building, you're building a strong building. And whatever is out of plumb or out of alignment shall be aligned to establish his kingdom. These are serious times. It's not church as usual. So we need grace for everything, including to build. He said he was a master builder or apostle. His task was to build. Just like an architect, an apostle receives and implements God's design for the church. He sees the finished product. That's another thing. As a builder, you need to know the end from the beginning. You need to know, if you're building a piano or whatever it is, what the end result needs to look like, right? When you are putting together a puzzle that's in a million pieces, you look at what? The box. That's what it's supposed to look like. And as you look to the design, and the design comes from God, then you can build your home, your ministry, your future. We had an amazing time Monday. It was interesting. We had our, how many were here? Some of you were here. We had our government leaders here, because while they were building great things, there were some things that were out of plumb. And it's a good thing when God says, "Hey, you're a little off. I love you, and what you're building here, I know it's not anywhere in this way. No, but it's to honor you, Lord." It says, "Yeah, but I never told you to build this garden and this extra room and what you have in the basement. I didn't tell you to put that there. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who labor in vain, and you all are builders." Oh, you're building something. It's so different than a pastoral church. It's an apostolic church. Pastoral church is important. We have fivefold. Foundation is based on the fivefold: the apostle, the prophet, the pastor, the teacher, the evangelist. All offices are important, and we can all operate on different facets of that. So we need divine strategies that enable us, like Daniel, Esther, and Jeremiah, to build the right foundation. It's interesting, when we study Bible, God is a builder. And he gives his blueprints to build things. He gave his blueprints to Moses to build the tabernacle. He gave his blueprints to David. David thought he was going to build the temple. God said, I'm giving you the blueprints and I'll give it to your son. He's going to build it. And we learn a lot, the blueprints, plans, and strategies of God for building of the temple. And today God was showing us our bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit. Our lives, our marriages are the place where God wants to release his glory. Those plans are important. It reveals God's precise nature, his desire for worship and holiness, and his larger redemptive plan. Turn to Exodus 25. And Lord just flashed this, so I'm going to release it. In the building project, number one, it's not over, okay? Have patience with me. God's not through with me yet. I'm in process. Should have a big sign, in process. I mean, go ahead. If I hurt you or I stepped on your left, nicely, don't leave or throw tomatoes. Just, Pastor, that hurt me, or what did you mean by that? So we're talking about plans, schematics of the finished product. And what I'm feeling the last few weeks is you guys have no idea how beautiful the finished product of your life looks like. You see, he's already gone to your future. God goes to your future, comes back to your presence, and speaks out of your future who you are. I may not be where I'm supposed to be, but I'm certainly not where I used to be. I've left Egypt. I'm not a slave anymore to the things that used to hold me in bondage. I know I'm not totally free and walking in all this, but I'm not who I used to be, and I ain't turning back, and God's got a future for me. He's been there. He saw the outside of the box of the puzzle of your life that looks totally out of whack. And even if I see it, but it's missing this piece, Lord, like the central piece, I don't see it. Well, he sees the piece already in, and it fits perfectly well. But he's the master builder. He's making you a vessel of honor. Trust the potter. You're just the clay. Trust him. And I declare that God has such a great future for each of you. For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord. Plans for future, for hope. And I'm the master builder, and I'm building it. And even what you thought was a detour, I'm using it for you. Even though you thought this attack or divorce or financial circumstance was going to set back, no, am I not God? And did I not promise you, I am the same yesterday, today, and forever, and I who began a good work in you am faithful to complete it. It's true, we're all a work in progress. You're such a work in progress. You are. And the progress belongs to him. So, you guys are looking at the wrong picture. You're looking, I wish I could just make it. I wish I could just make ends meet financially. I wish I could just sleep at night, and I wish, No, God has such a much more incredible picture on the front of your box, even though the pieces don't make any sense. Exodus 25:9. So he went on, and So Moses raises an offering to build the tabernacle. The tabernacle was a portable tabernacle for God's glory. Wherever the children of Israel went, the fire by day and the cloud by night, and the glory in the tabernacle went with them. It was a mobile glory machine. It's like those mobile food stands. What do they call them? Food trucks. It's a mobile food truck. You're a mobile glory food truck. Yes, you are. Everywhere you go, God's glory goes. Everywhere you go, healing goes. Everywhere you go, a word of exhortation, encouragement to bring people to the Lord. You are his tabernacle in the wilderness. And sometimes building is slow. I remember when we bought a townhouse in Kendall when we first got married. It was a very, very nice house with 2 cats in the yard, which used to be so hard. And then we bought our first house, I think it was pre-construction, here in Embassy Lakes in Cooper City. And I would go out to the site every day. Oh, we got the permit, great! And then they sectioned off something, and I kept on going like every day, nothing was happening. It took forever. And then finally, a little bit of what resembled, they're laying the foundation and the concrete to have a foundation, which like months later, it's like, they're promising us in 6 months. This ain't going to happen. Like nothing happened for the first 3-4 months. And then the foundation was laid, and then before you know it, like it went up overnight. It seemed like there was more time on the foundation than there was in the building of the house. And I had zero patience. I wanted my house, and I wanted it now. Listen, building takes time. Especially if some of the additions that you put on your home need to be first demolished. All right, how do we build? Exodus 25. So Moses takes up an offering in 25:3. This is the contribution which you are to raise from them: gold, silver, bronze, blue, etc., etc. 8. Let them construct a sanctuary for me. Could you imagine? This is not just the home. This is the sanctuary for the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. We better do this one right. That I may dwell among them. God says, I want to dwell among you. Now build me a house. How do we build, Lord? According to all that I am going to show you as the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all of its furniture, just so you shall construct it. And you got chapters upon chapters of the dimensions and the number of cubits and the colors and the gold overlay and all this like detail specs and plans that God says, this is how I want my house to look like. Well, you're that house. You're the new house. He's not dwelling in buildings and tabernacles or temples. He's dwelling inside of you. Hebrews 8:5. Hebrews 8:4. Now, if he, Jesus, were on earth, he would not be a priest at all, since there are those who are offered the gifts according to the law. All right, 5. Who serve all these things, the priesthood, the offering, the gifts, the temple, all of it is a copy and shadow of heavenly things. There's a heavenly temple. You see, we want to build based on heavenly plans. God is releasing scrolls of your life. Scrolls for your children, for your family, for your ministry, based on a heavenly model of what he's building in heaven. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Who serve as a copy shadow of the heavenly things, just as Moses was warned by God. He was about to erect a tabernacle. For see, he says, that you make all things according to the pattern which was shown on the mountain. God wants to release heavenly plans for the building of your marriage, of your life, of your ministry. All right, let's go quicker. So we're in a season of ER where God is releasing light and expanding territory. God says, expand your tent pegs. And God is calling this congregation as an apostolic pioneering church. Pioneers break new ground. We are always, if you notice or not, breaking new ground and new territory over America, over nations for His glory. And God is calling you to do the same. The prophets identify and bring down strongholds over families, cities, nations. And the apostle builds. We need both apostles and prophets working together to operate as ambassadors of heaven, to bring breakthrough, so that, as Acela said for the women's meeting, that when we are someplace doing ministry, advancing the kingdom, there has to be a before and after. People need to come in and say, you know what? After I met with you, after you prayed with me, when I got home, everything changed for the good. God's presence came. My husband started talking to me. We're now going to Pastor Irving's counseling. Everything changed when I came into your presence. You are portable glory carriers. The more darkness, the more opportunity. And God says you have an excellent spirit, like Daniel, yatir, that which buds above the rest. The only way to get to, God wants us to be at the top of the mountains that God's called us, is you need the supernatural. We need to operate in the supernatural. Turn to the book of Nehemiah. So Nehemiah was in exile, but he went to survey the condition of Israel and Jerusalem. Verse 3, the remnant there, 1:3, who survived captivity are in great distress and reproach. The wall of Jerusalem is broken, and its gates are burnt with fire. He went to survey the area, and it was in a very bad shape. He begins to cry out to God. God gave him a strategy, and he goes to the king and gets authority and favor to build. The walls of Jerusalem being down, it's a lot more than just a story historically. It's a spiritual, this book is a spiritual blueprint. It reveals how walls in your life, in your family, in your mind sometimes are broken in, how there's things that have been burned down, and the enemy has free access. See, when there's no walls, then the false authority can come in and out at will. And opposition, if you don't remember anything else, remember this. Opposition always arises whenever you're committed to rebuild. I'm going to rebuild and refocus on my marriage. All hell's going to break loose. Satan was happy that you guys weren't talking to each other for the last 2 months. The minute you're saying, no, we're not going to put up with this, we're going to rebuild the unity that God spoke to us and walk in what God said. When the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord raises up a standard. Wherever there's a Mordecai that's about to be appointed, there's a Haman that rises. Wherever there's a Daniel that's supposed to be near a king, satraps are going to start talking about him to throw him into the lion's den. Welcome to the club. Now, when the work began, opposition was immediate, and the purpose of St. Ballard and Tobiah is to get you off the wall. Nehemiah's journey begins with a burden. He weeps over the condition of Jerusalem. You see, the prophet feels what God feels. Some of you may actually have what's called a feeler anointing. Some of you can see things. I see things. Sometimes I feel things. But some of you literally feel. You've seen people, I feel this pain. I know it's not me. It's a word of knowledge for somebody else. And then once it's released, the pain lifts. It's a feeler. And if you don't know how to handle the burden that God's given you, it could crush you. So he felt the burden for his people and for the city, because God gives his heart to people. God's given you vision and burden for single moms or for like we're working on for those in drug addiction and to set people free. Director Carter not only has the job, she has such a passion for young people being set free from drugs. Whatever it takes. Nehemiah isn't just feeling something, he's now sent with an authority of the king. You are being sent. It's a season that God is saying, now's the time. You are authorized to go forward and advance the kingdom of God. That's why it's so important not to neglect the assembling together, because this is not just another church. It's time to receive prophetic assignments for you and your family. You're called for greatness. You're called as Daniels, Josephs, and Esthers to transform society and nations at the highest levels. And God is saying, the blueprint you've been working over for your life purpose and plan is far short of that which I have for you. My plan for you and your family is for good and for a future and for a hope, not for destruction. Well, we need to get together to hear those blueprints. And yes, it's okay for those that are watching online, but it's not the same as gathering together to worship the King of Kings in the presence of the Lord. All right. Now, Nehemiah didn't rush into action. He understood and needed first to receive a vision from God on how to rebuild. Some of you feel that the walls are down in your own life, in your own mind, in your own marriage, in your family. That the enemy is coming freely in and out to kill, steal, and destroy relationships, your children's purpose and destiny, and there's nothing you can do. Well, if that's the state you're in, God says, as Nehemiah, I'm raising you to restore the walls of your city, to restore the walls over your mind, your marriage, and your family, and Cooper City, and the cities, and America, and beyond. We are builders. The Nehemiahs are rising up. God builds intentionally, not randomly. There's a schematic, precept upon precept. Before Nehemiah even spoke to the king, he prayed and fasted. Every assignment must be rooted in intercession. Just because you get a prophetic word, you have to birth it. It doesn't happen. The minute you get a prophetic word, you're going to be an apostle. You start taking out your business cards and get a kiosk. I'm an apostle. No. You have to die first. Nehemiah gained favor with the king and came up with a plan. Kingdom advancement requires favor and practical strategy. Vision plus planning plus execution. See, we want to build something that endures. In Nehemiah 3, he put people in families. We're going to go over, I'm going ahead, but where I want to really park is the type of spirits that come against you when you're advancing the kingdom. In Nehemiah 4:9, but we prayed to our God, and because of them, we set up a guard against them day and night. They had a prayer shield because the enemy wanted to stop. It's interesting. Nehemiah went to do good, but the minute God's purposes and God's man came to the scene, the opposition of Sanballat and Tobiah arose. Thus in Judah it is said, the strength of the burden bearers is failing, yet there is much rubbish, and we ourselves are unable to build. Verse 13, Nehemiah said, I stationed men in the lowest parts of the space behind the wall in the exposed places. Where there were breaches on the wall, I stationed people. And I stationed them in families. Entire families were there sealing the breach with their swords, their spears, and their bows. When I saw their fear, I rose and spoke to the people, do not be afraid of them. I declare, whatever spirits of Sanballat and Tobiah are coming against you, your home, your mind, your family, your health, we are rebuilding a strong wall. And as the enemies come in, do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome. Fight for your brothers. Fight for your sons. Fight for your daughters, your wives, and your houses. When the enemies heard that it was known to us that God had frustrated their plan, then we returned to the wall. From that day, half of the servants did the work, while half did the war. They had spears, shields, and bows. You're building and warring at the same time. You're building with one hand, constructing, and you're pushing back the gates of hell on the other. You're praying and encouraging your son and daughter of their calling and ministering to them while you're saying, Satan, you have no authority in my home. Get thee behind me, Satan, in the name of Jesus. I wish this war part would stop, but it doesn't. But God has trained your hands for war and your fingers for battle, and I decree and declare over your life, for some of you, I keep on going, over your mind is like Swiss cheese. All those holes, and Satan just and you're like, oh well. No, oh well. Cover the holes. Have Havarti or something. Change the cheese. No? Yeah, but you don't understand, Pastor. No, I understand. You've got holes. Like Nehemiah's walls, and the enemy's like, shoo, shoo, free reign, comes in and out, does whatever they want. No more. After today, you are getting a different cheese, and you're saying, Satan, you cannot attack me. The weapons of my warfare are mighty in God to the pulling down of strongholds. Satan, you have no authority over my mind. I'm building a wall. I'm putting on the helmet of righteousness and the blood of Jesus. Nehemiah organized families and groups to build. Number one, you and your household will build. You're going to build together. Instead of fighting one another, you're going to stay in those weak places for your family, and you're going to seal the wall. It's also a corporate work. God's doing a corporate thing. The day of the prophet of a nation or the apostle is over, of the apostle. It's a team. It's an apostolic prophetic team that's working together. Stay focused despite distractions in your building. Expect opposition, and continue to build. All right, let's go into the different way the spirit of Sanballat, Tobiah came. And above everything else, I remember when we started Estelle and I in the church, I was first ordained in leading intercession. And we had a group. We would meet every Thursday night. And then sometimes somebody would miss. Oh, okay, that happens. And then the next time 2 or 3 or 4 would miss. And as we started calling, they were all getting hit with the exact same thing. And the Lord said, this is an attack. It's a little slow sometimes. But it's a very specific attack. It was exactly the same attack. And then it dawned on me. Yes, Satan is doing it, but he's doing it for a purpose. He does not want you on the wall. So that, if you don't get anything else, the most important thing you do when Sanballat and Tobiah are coming against you is almost ignore them and get back on the wall. Hold that thought. So, the work always attracts opposition. No opposition, no opportunity. There's a big door of opportunity, yet with great adversaries. It's just life. It's going to happen. But the enemy does not need to affect you like it used to. When we step into purpose, there's great purpose for each of you. There's great purpose for this church. God is calling you higher into your identity, purpose, and destiny in a much greater way. When you do that, opposition comes. It comes through discouragement. It comes through distraction. It comes through criticism. And it comes even through doubt. Maybe I'm not really called. Maybe I'm not so prophetic. Maybe I don't need to go to church. Number 1, it's Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, the Arab. You don't hear about Geshem, but it was those 3 guys. Those spirits would rise to stop the building of the wall. Number 1, mockery and ridicule. Nehemiah 2:19. But when Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem heard, they mocked and despised us and said, what is it that you're building? Are you rebelling against the king? At one point they said, if a fox jumps on this wall, it's going to fall. Who do you think you are? What do you think you're doing? They laughed and despised the builders. They claimed the work was weak and pointless. You're just wasting your time with coming to intercession and going to that church. It's just a waste of time. And all the while, they're trying to discourage the morale of the builder, to undermine confidence so that you would quit. In my little intercessory group, we were doing something. Satan didn't like what we were doing. So little by little, he started picking off one by one by one. I've seen it in a church. Whole church split because they started picking off the prophets, and then the elders, and then the intercessors. And everybody just thought it was something. It wasn't. It was a diabolical plan because that church was being set as a light to nations. This stuff is real. God wants to wake you up that what you're building is significant. Your calling, your purpose is important. What we're building here, people can say things and you won this and you whatever. I don't want to say, give any credence or power to that. But whatever it is, they're going to say, they're going to criticize you, they're going to mock you. Who do you think you are? Who do you think your family is? You say, no, I know that God has given us a strategic plan and purpose, and we will build. And I'm going to get back on the wall. No devil in hell is going to keep me off my post. Come on. Number 2, first, mockery and ridicule. 2, threats, actual threats. They conspired to attack Jerusalem and create confusion. They planned a surprise assault to instill fear, spirit of fear. Oh my gosh, if I do this, this could happen, whatever it is. God has not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. I'm telling you, it starts with your mind. I can't get away from the mind. Although we're building families, we're building cities, we're building nations. We are an apostolic prophetic church advancing the kingdom, and you're called to that building project. But it starts with the mind. Satan immobilizes you with his voice. And it's time to say, I'm not going to listen to your voice any longer. No, God has not given me a spirit of fear, of power. He's given me a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. Number 3, psychological warfare, witchcraft, and intimidation. These spirits attempted to create constant anxiety, to wear down mentally, so that you throw in the towel and leave the wall. Your positioning on the wall is important. Whether you're a prophet, intercessor, worshiper, your positioning in new wine is important. Every single position, because all it takes is one breach where someone was supposed to be standing against the gates of hell, that the enemy can come in. And we are raising a mighty army here in New Wine, and we are restoring the watchmen, and we're restoring those around the wall. And we will build because God is with us. Do not be afraid of them. Listen, sometimes you need to be like the prophet Ezekiel, where God says, I'm going to make your forehead as hard as flint, because you're speaking to real stubborn people. Your forehead is going to be harder than their forehead. Your resolve is going to be greater than the devil trying to divide families, destroy your children, and come against the church. Upon this house I shall build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. You are called to be a master builder, and it's time to arise. Satan, you're not getting me off the wall. I don't care what you tell me. I've been called for this time and for this purpose, and I'm equipped to go forward. Number 1, mockery. 2, threats. Number 3, psychological warfare, witchcraft. Number 4, distraction through compromise. They invited Nehemiah to meet. Said, hey, let's talk. Let's figure this out. And he says, I can't. I'm too busy. Hey, you don't have to build the whole thing or help us build. We're building with you. Sometimes your enemy's going to come alongside you. I'll help you build. Nehemiah just rose up. You have no place, no right, and no memorial. You see, the things with Nehemiah, number 1, he had compassion. He was burdened and cried for the condition of the city, of the home, of the people. Number 2, he saw the strategy of God. He got the blueprints from heaven of how to rebuild the wall. And number 3, he had the favor and authority of the king. Holy Spirit today is giving you all 3. A new compassion for your family, for your marriage, for the church, for your city. He's giving you strategies from heaven on how to rebuild. And number 3, he's authorizing you. I decree and declare in the Spirit, you are authorized to rebuild your marriage. Oh, you are authorized to restore your family. You are authorized to advance the kingdom and take cities for Christ. It's a new authority. It's a new day. It's a new mantle of authority. You're not a mealy-mouthed cat. Meow. You are a lion. You are armed and dangerous. Throw away that old design that you thought God was building. Oh God, would you please give me whatever? Let me just have one prophetic word. No, he's ready to pour out his Spirit upon you and use you beyond anything you can ask or think. So there was compromise. Let's meet. And he said, I can't meet. Sometimes, probably most of the time, Satan, you know what? If Satan wants to talk, don't entertain it. I'm not gonna meet with you. I'm not gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna agree. I don't need to listen to it. Now, if it comes through your wife or someone else, say it a little different, but you don't have to entertain it. No, that's not true. I know you're angry right now and you're saying things that you may regret. I'm sorry I hurt you, but I'm more than a conqueror in Christ Jesus. I am the head of this household. I will lay down my life for you, whatever it is. Don't entertain or compromise with the devil. That's a big one. Number 5, false accusation and slander. They sent a letter accusing Nehemiah with fake news of planning a rebellion against the king. They tried to damage his reputation and provoke intervention for the king to stop the work. Satan will try to stop the building project in all these different ways. Number 6, hiring a false prophet to try to trap him. A man named Shemaiah urged Nehemiah to hide in the temple. And he said, no, why would I hide? I will not hide. And then internal undermining via allies. Tobiah started speaking to people that were working with Nehemiah. Sometimes your friends are going to say the darnest things. And it's not always Holy Spirit. Now you want to be nice, but you don't receive it. No, that is not true. This is a righteous project that God has called me to rebuild my home, my marriage, my mind, my family, my church, and my city. Lessons to be learned: persistence. See, it didn't take long, but they never dropped the ball. They never threw in the towel. Keep on keeping on. Persistence will lead to completion. Despite all the opposition, the wall was built in 52 days. Do not leave your assignment. Nehemiah said, I'm doing a great work. I cannot come down. Worship team, you can start making your way up. Make sure you build and war at the same time. Have your building utensils as you advance the kingdom and the weapons of the Spirit of God. Put on the full armor of God, which includes truth, righteousness, faith, salvation, and the Word of God, and build in unity. Let's stand. You guys can just lead us in worship. prayer. First, let me pray. Father, would you release the architectural drawings of our lives? Would you release the pure picture of our family together, loving one another and worshiping you? Would you release the plan of me walking with a sound mind? Let us see as you see. Let us see this ministry and our ministries like you do now. For there are angels that are releasing plans for you, for each of your children, for all that concerns you. During this season of ER, as the spirit of Issachar is upon us, ask him, Father, would you give me the plans you have? Not general, I know you said it's going to be good, but how do I build here? How do I speak to my daughter? How do I approach my husband? He's got the plans in heaven. For we're building based on the schematic of a heavenly plan on earth as it is in heaven. Holy Spirit, angels, release the plans. Release the plans. Some of us, we may be just a little out of plumb. Maybe we added something or didn't build exactly right. He's not here to condemn. Say, Father, I'm sorry. I surrender what I did here, what I said here, how I tried to build a relationship and it just severed it. Holy Spirit, I'm coming back. With you, I will rebuild the wall over my life, over my family. You are faithful. I will not fear. I come against every spirit of St. Ballot, every spirit of Tobiah, every spirit of Goshen that's coming to stop the builders. Satan, you have no authority to attack the minds of the builders anymore in Jesus' name. In the name of Jesus, spirit of mockery, be gone in Jesus' name. Spirit of witchcraft, intimidation, broken in the name of Jesus. Spirit of doubt and what's the sense, out. Frustration, discouragement, loose in the name of Jesus. Do not fear them. Fight for your brothers. Fight for your sons. Fight for your daughters. For God is with you.
We raise up, oh mountains.
vision that some of us dropped the hammer, dropped the utensil, and that God was saying, pick it back up and continue to build. Continue to build in the name of Jesus. If we can have those with a shofar to come up. As the Spirit of God is trying to anoint you with a fresh wind to rebuild. Even now the enemy is coming with doubt, with mockery and confusion. There's a battle going on in some of our minds, even as Holy Spirit is trying to set you free. And the reason is because the master builder says there's a great building that you're building. And that as you complete the project, the enemy will get discouraged. And souls shall be saved. And there'll be a place, a resting place for my presence and my glory. It's time not only to take up the hammer, but to take up the sword. And say, Satan, enough is enough. Our God is with us. I will no longer entertain or listen to the spirit of St. Balak, the spirit of Tobiah. Let's pray in the Holy Ghost. Come on. Satan, you're a liar. You will no longer steal. You will no longer kill. You will no longer destroy. The kingdom of God suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. I'm taking back my mind. I'm taking back my marriage. I'm taking back my children. In the name of Jesus, release a sound. Release a roar.
Baranda kaya mositi diadra usondo korea trabasanda diadra baba barat. Bagindi ki amosotora rasha kaya nama. Baroto dara bahara miyadra sandala la bakayana. Baronda dara iki amosotora ya. Baroto dara ba. Ora shanda dara bakayanda. My children, it is time. It is time. It is time. It is time to rise up, to face the enemy, and to overcome everything that the enemy would bring against you. I have defeated. I will not allow you to be overcome by the enemy. Stand strong and defeat the one who comes against you.
I want to open the altar for the builders, for those of you that the Holy Spirit spoke to, for those of you that have sensed some of the Sanballat Tobiah attacks, discouragement, fear, mockery, compromise, whatever it is. I want you to come up at this time. He's on the throne. He is the master builder. And He's pouring out His grace for us to build. I feel the apostolic mantle, the mantle of authority. We've talked a lot and activated the prophetic mantle, but God is saying, I want you to activate my authority. If that's something God is speaking to you, I want you to come up. God wants you to break new ground, to operate as a pioneer, to go where no one else has gone, to begin to build with His grace. If that's you, I want you to come up. Show. Worship Him. Worship Him. He's here.
Father, we just come in the name of Jesus, in the authority that He has given us as His followers, as His apostles, as His prophets, as His teachers, as His servants. We just come right now. Father, I just break off every spirit of defeat, every spirit of anxiety, every spirit of concern and fear. Anything that would hold us back, I break it right now in the name of Jesus. You have no authority over these people. You have no authority over me, over this house. You have been defeated, and I command you to loose us, release every one of us, and be gone now in the name of Jesus. Father, we just declare your power, your authority, your victory over every person that is standing here today. In Jesus' name, you are God's anointed to bring forth His kingdom in this earth. In Jesus' name.
Father, in the name of Jesus, I release and declare the apostolic authority is in this house. Father, that you're increasing the metron and authority of your people to build, to advance, to pioneer. In the name of Jesus, release an anointing now. Now, receive it, receive it, receive it in Jesus' name.
almost like he was opening up our minds and clearing out cobwebs, but then it changed to doors. And he said this is a season of new, and that there's doors that have been locked that I'm getting ready to open, and dreams that people have tucked away that he's getting ready to bring into your remembrance again. And he's clearing out the cobwebs off of the doors and off of our minds in this season.
Awesome. Also, I was reminded of that hammer or that utensil that some of us drop. And I feel that it's not just a symbol of building, but it's a gift. It's a calling. It's a mantle. And God wants you to pick it up again. He wants you to pick it up again. For the enemy has attacked you because he knew that it would be dangerous if you operated in that place. And I want you to just do a prophetic sign and just pick it up, whatever it is. And if it's a mantle, put it on.
I want to say that the Lord has, not the Lord, the devil has been working overtime this week to get me to disqualify myself. And the Lord has not disqualified me. He has not disqualified anyone in this room. That's the devil, to get you to disqualify yourself. But we all need to pick up what the Lord has given us, the tools that the Lord has given us, and we need to build with them, and we need to wage war. This is the Lord, and we need to enter in and stand up and be the people of God that we are called to be.
Amen. I want you to pray with me. Father, in the name of Jesus, I declare I'm qualified, I'm called, I'm anointed, I'm mantled, I'm armed and dangerous. Satan, you're a liar. Loose me, my mind, my family. I will build upon me. He will build his church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. Now, I want to pray this again. For the last, 6 weeks, we've been activating the prophetic. And now you see people prophesying that weren't prophesying, or prophesying more, or seeing or hearing more. God is now releasing and adding the apostolic mantle over your life. It's not just words. It means that doors shall be open. It means that pioneering and ambassadorship will be on you, that a greater authority is going to fall. Satan doesn't want this. That's why there's resistance. But we're going to build. And I declare we're sealing the walls around your mind, around your marriage, around your family. And in a short time, say short time, the walls shall be completed. And my enemies shall leave and be discouraged. They will realize that this work was done by the hand of the Lord. Let me pray. Just receive it. Father, let me pray. In the name of Jesus, by the authority given to me, with favor, grace, as a master builder, not because of anything good in me, but because of your grace and calling. I decree and declare the apostolic and prophetic mantle over my life shall be released over these people now. The weight, the kavod, the authority, shapapa. Now. Shoma baba ho. Now. The apostolic is an authority. It's an authorization. It's a power of attorney by by the person signing. God's signing your power. He's saying, all power has been given unto me in heaven and earth. And as he called the 12 and then the 70, he said, and I authorize you with this same power that was on me. Receive it now. Oh! Power, 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 power. Oh! Power. Receive it. Power. 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 Holy Ghost power. 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 Shh. Power. Power. Shh. Receive it. The enemy has tried to say you're disqualified, but you're not. And what God sees in you is much greater than you can ever imagine, than you can dream. God's called you to reignite the fire, the passion, and the dream. He has not left you. He's been watching your path, all of it. And He's got a great purpose and future. Holy Spirit, release the fire, the authority. And you said, Lord, how long? How long? And the Lord says, now's the time, son. Receive. Show. You're going to notice a before and after from this service. Not only in open doors, show, but in greater authority. Fire. Shh. For the Lord shall restore all that the locust has eaten. And when the Lord restores, it's greater than anything. I decree and declare over your lives. You've seen things. God's entrusted you with much. But what's coming in this next season is much greater. It's a greater weight. Mario, you've been called as a father. You've been called to minister to men, Father. And God's calling you back to your original love in the name of Jesus. And Raina, you've got a prophetic fire over your life. Now's the time. Now's the new. And I see over your life, there's great things that God's deposited. But He's doing a major building project. And some of the things are taking time because there's a great work that He's called you to do. You know the plan He has. You know the vision is great. And sometimes He doesn't release all of it at the same time because He's wise. And I just affirm what God's doing in your life, that you will lead in a great revival in the name of Jesus. And you will preach the gospel. And you shall be an evangelist, says the Lord. And many will come to know me through your life. Receive it. Ho. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Glory. More glory. More. For you love the Lord and you love His glory. More, Lord. Ruth Heflin would teach about the glory. And she would teach that when we're in this place, God begins to release glory over nations. Sometimes will transport us supernaturally to another nation, but that as glory carriers, it's not just what we're receiving. Sometimes we're receiving for families, for people groups, for nations. Father, release your glory. Ho. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Release it. Shamba. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Release the apostolic prophetic. demonstrate gifts, not just in you, but that you give to others and activate others in their gifting and in their calling. Come, Lord. Come, Lord. Now, more glory. More glory. He loves you. He loves you. He's never left you or forsaken you. He's building a beautiful building for His glory. And all the promises, all those pieces of the puzzle that don't fit yet, He's bringing them to fit now. Oh, more. Hey. Show. Felt this. God is a master builder, and He knows how to build. And just like with me in our first home, I didn't see anything happening. And the Lord said, be careful for those that you think nothing's happening. And you know how when you have kids and you put them up against the wall, how much they grew, and they haven't grown at all until the growth spurt, and then you're looking up. The Lord said, some of you are ready for your growth spurt. Oh, for those that say, well, I haven't had a prophetic word, and I don't know that I hear. God's doing such a deep, deep work that you're going to grow taller than some of the others.
When I was in high school, I did a ceramics for like 4 years. And one of the things we did, first of all, we built something. And then the teacher would say, all right, now what color do you want it to be? And so we would choose colors, and she would give us a formula for that. And it would be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And so you mix it up and you put it on there, and you're like, that doesn't look anything like the color that I wanted. And so she's like, be just patient. And so they'd put them in the kiln.
In the fire.
And the kiln was like 400 degrees, 500 degrees. I don't even know how hot it was. And we had to wait because it wasn't like in and out. And so we would be like maybe 2 days later, go back, and we'd be looking, and we were amazed at what the colors were from that thing, that it was just amazing. So I just sensed that too. Like some of you are being built, some of you are being painted, some of you are being in the fire. But when you come out, it's going to be something so beautiful. Anyway.
All right, let's worship Him. give the Lord a clap offering. Make sure you come next Friday, next Sunday. Invite others to come and sign up for those that need a ride for next Sunday. Don't miss it. It's going to be an amazing time. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you. May the Lord pour out his countenance upon you and give you peace.